Hello, this is Mimi Clark and Nicole Oman from Gaia Blooming, and we are here with the Gaia perspective. So basically, we are going to do a weekly conversation where you get to kind of peer into a Mimi Nicole conversation. We talk all the time and just keep going about something that's near and dear to our hearts. And so we're starting off this week, our Gaia perspective, about the physical body as part of the spiritual journey. And I think this is so perfect, the timing. We have Venus in Virgo, we have Jupiter about to move into Virgo. In about a month, the sun's going to shift into Virgo. We're going to have all this Virgo energy, which really brings the attention to the physical. And I do like to say in my personal astrology world that it brings the attention to the physical body and your attention to it. So I'm going to hand it off to Nicole to get this started.
All right. Well, thanks, Mimi. So I'm a Virgo. So my whole world is around the physical and the body and being realistic and really listening to the body. I also have, if you know anything about astrology, I have like a ton of planets in the 6th house, which is the planet of Virgo. And so when I started my spiritual journey, we really dive into getting in touch with our higher self and all these very different esoteric ideas. Well, I'm here to really reiterate that do not forget the body. A lot of people in spiritual talk say, we are not our bodies, we're not our bodies, this is just a vessel. That's very true, but it is part of us. It is a source of how to navigate this planet, this reality, this third dimension. And in religious text, it talks about the body as the temple. So we don't ever want to forget how important this body is. And I always say this, that the body doesn't lie. If you want to see what's going on, if you're out of balance from your soul, your spirit, your purpose, listen to your body. Because the pain or any discomfort that you have in the body is just the reminder that something is off. And a lot of people get their lessons so firmly in the body. If they're not listening to their higher guidance system, something happens in the body, disease or dis-ease. A lot of people like to say, oh, it's a dis-ease. Yes, disease is a dis-ease on what is not in flow in your life. Also, I see it, I have to say, I see it in car accidents. I see it in people getting in an accident, shattering a leg, like in a weird way. So what I want to put out there is if we really find the center in the body, everything else will start flowing as well. And that's taking care of your body. Physically knowing what's good for you. And me and Mimi just had a conversation that every body is different. Physically, every body. My body type is going to be different than your body type. So it's really getting to know yourself, being aware of what's going in and what works for you and what doesn't. And me and Mimi were talking about the raw food discussion. And whether or vegan discussion, or some people can do that and it can work really well. But in my own journey with eating different foods, some raw food does not necessarily work for me. I get really cold. So you have to really discover it for yourself. So, Miss Mimi, what do you think, which avenue should we talk about this in further discussion?
I want to, I guess, bring up the things that really helped me dive into my body and really stop fighting it. And I'm not saying that my path with stopping fighting it is over, but I've come such a long way in it. I grew up with my mom. My mom was a nutritionist, so she was always like, this is healthy and this is not healthy. This is healthy and this is not healthy. And meanwhile, I had my own, when I was sick, all I would eat was cucumbers when I was little. There's many stories from my family. They're like, there was a blizzard and you sent Dad out to get you cucumbers because you weren't feeling well. Move a million years later. Maybe not a million. I'm not a million years old. But, I now know that cucumber is good for the lymph. And I have a sensitive lymph. My body knew. Me as a child new. And yet my mom had all these ideas that this is good for you, this is not. This is good for you, this is not. I remember her making me eat bread and the crusts. And again, flash forward, that's not actually great for me. That doesn't make me feel good. That actually irritates my lymph versus like the cucumbers that feel really good for it. And so, I had many years of this up and down fight, like, oh, I should be eating this because this is supposed to be good. And meanwhile, I'm like, ew, gag, and oh, that's not really good for me. I'm not gonna eat that. And meanwhile, I'm craving it. Like, just I want to eat it. I think the biggest wake up call for me was I went vegan. I became allergic to soy. So I got soy out of my life, but it's really hard to get soy out of your life. It's in everything. So soy every once in a while would pop back in, and I started to develop hives from getting soy. So the first time I got hives from soy, like I tried topical and all these things to try to help me. And finally I was like, all I want to eat is cherries and cabbage. So I started eating cherries and cabbage, and it was like immediately the hives went away. I had been battling them for days, like scratching myself like crazy, knocking myself out with Benadryl. Hives go away from cherries and cabbage. A few months later, again, soy must have gotten in something. I got hives, and so I was like, ooh, cherries and cabbage. I wasn't craving cherries and cabbage. I didn't want cherries and cabbage, but I was like, but it worked. So I'm going to go eat cherries and cabbage. What I was craving was pumpkin and sweet potato. But I was like, no, there's sugar in there. That's going to irritate my hives. Well, cherries and cabbage didn't work. Finally, I give in to the sweet potato. Immediately, the hives went away. My body knew. And meanwhile, I was like, no, I know better. My mind's like, I know what's going on. And so it was through this journey that I was like, okay, I may have this knowledge. And the knowledge is great, but I really have to tune in, because I really believe, from working with my clients, working with myself, every cell in our body has its intelligence, and nobody can really tell you for sure what's going on with you.
Absolutely. And I love that story, because it's such a physical level of how we do everything, right? So it's like, how do we do that with our own spiritual tools, where we think we got the answer? We got this one amazing thing that worked for us, and then in every situation we keep going back to that one tool and it doesn't work. I love that story because it makes you really aware that you have to take every situation differently, and that what you're craving in one moment might not work for the next moment, and that you have to be, and this is the practice of really being aware of the body and listening to the moment, which, by the way, Virgo is also about the moment, right? So it's the moment and the body. So what's going on in this moment inside of myself? Every morning, here's a really good practice, and this isn't just with diet, and this is with everything. I would suggest when you wake up, if you can, if you don't have a little one knocking on your head, like, wake up. That could be a cat or a dog or a kid. Give yourself a moment, even if it's in the car, to just take a breath and go, what is alive inside of me right now? And notice. So it's not trying to manipulate your body or manipulate yourself, just putting an awareness on your body. Ooh, I feel a little stuck in my heart today. It might be an energetic thing. That might be a feeling there. Ooh, I have a lot of physical tension in my shoulders. I think I need to get a massage. Oh, I didn't eat enough. I'm hungry. Whatever is alive, it doesn't matter if it's mundane, or it doesn't matter if it's this big, holy crap, I have something that I got to work through thing, right? So and every moment, by the way, is different. So it's like, what's alive in me inside of me right now? And staying with that, listening to the body, listening to what's going on, because the tensions in your body are connected emotionally and spiritually. When I went to India, I did a cleanse for 6 weeks. It was called Panchakarma. And through this process, I cleaned out pretty much every orifice of my body. I drank ghee to pull out the chemical toxins. I did this crazy thing to clear out my sinuses. And yes, I'm going there. Let's talk butt talk here. But I did enemas, colon cleansing. Virgos, for some reason, love colon cleansing.
I have my sun in the 6th house. I love it too. I can't say enough about it.
If you feel yourself getting sick, go get a colon cleanse, because I'm telling you, as soon as that area of your body is clean, you can flow, right? So let's think about where the colon is. The colon is at your root chakra, right? It's also around your, the sacral and the root. What we manifest is right there. So if that's all gunked up, you ain't manifesting shit. So we got to clean that out. We got to cleanse it. And then right above the root is the sacral. That's our creativity. That's our sexuality. That's our passion. That's our nurturing. So if you're not feeling nurtured, maybe getting that colon cleanse, maybe doing something of this nature may help you flow everything in your life. You get new perspective, you feel better, and it's going to kick whatever that illness, that cold or whatever, the flu, you might find that it kicks it pretty quickly, because if that's flowing and you're digesting properly, look at a car. You're lubricating everything to make everything kind of work cyclically, right? So I have spaghetti brain. So so I did enemas. So when I did Panchakarma, what happened was this 6 weeks, you're not really supposed to do anything physically laboring. You're supposed to sit and kind of just be with yourself. And what I noticed, and there was 20 other people doing Panchakarma with me, that we all had this thing we called them memory movies. And a memory would pop through as we were detoxing. A memory would pop through. We wouldn't be emotionally attached to it. We would just kind of relive something, and then it would be like, gone. And what was amazing, I blame it on my Virgo-ness and my 6th house-ness, is I actually knew where in the body I stored that memory. Mm. Okay? So I was like, oh, that was in my joint, or that was in my hip. And that's also why yoga is so great. That's because you're stretching. This is why movement is so great. Running, exercise, is because it's moving the energy out of your body. Plus, exercise, you're also building endorphins, which is also going to make you feel better about yourself and about life in general. But we do store knots, right? We know this by massage. They can hold emotion. They can hold harsh emotion. They can hold fun or laughter. I don't know if you've ever had this, Mimi, but somebody pushes on a knot, like you get a massage and you just start crying for no reason.
I actually have a hilarious story. Somebody gave me a massage and they pushed a knot in my back and I yelled Africa. I don't even know why. It's still to this day, like she and I on Facebook will be like, Africa! But yeah, she pushed a knot and I yelled Africa, top of my lungs. There was a memory there.
Clearly it was a past life memory we stored there.
Clearly. Yeah.
But I've laughed like I've blubbered laughed so hard when somebody's pushed on a knot. And some sort of energy is stuck there. So to me, it's like, you know what? You take care of that, you're getting into a very core place of something that may not logically be like Africa. What the heck is that connected to? It doesn't really matter. What matters is that we're flowing it out and allowing our body to be the temple, the clean temple that it needs to be. And you have to decide what is going to be in that temple, right? So it's like what foods, how much water you drink. This is coming up a lot for me too. It's like making sure you're having really good water and enough of it, and that will help flow things in your life. If you think of them in an elemental term, if you're lacking flow and stagnation, drink some more water. See what flushes out. If you're going through something heavy, flush something deeply in your body. I'm going to reiterate saying this. How we do one thing is how we do everything. And And if you're doing something to nurture yourself on a physical level, that's the most dense you can get it on this planet, is on the physical level, then everything's going to follow suit. So if you're emotionally or mentally blocked, do the physical thing. Go for a run or drink more water, and you might see things loosening up. I know where I want to go next, so I'm going to let Mimi.
Oh, good. Well, I was going to say, and I think on a physical level too, like, it gets you into your body and feeling good, you know, and I think that's such a thing. Like, I want to feel good. If you're ever in that place of disease, you want to feel better. And so it's actually like helping catapult you into like your next. So if you can actually get into your body, I know I've been here up at my mom's, like, I'm not good about doing yoga every day. When I lived in San Diego, I'm yoga every day. And my body's like, yes, thank you. I love this. And it's interesting because I've been on that exercise cycle. I was a dancer the first like million years of my life. I'm a million years old again. But I worked hard. I worked my body hard. And then after that, I gained weight when I stopped dancing. And so I threw myself into exercise hard. And I think I did it too much. A little bit too much, because at one point I was putting on weight when I was exercising too hard. And I found this nice balance of like, what feels good. And it reminds me, I keep thinking the Mary Oliver poem, Wild Geese, keeps popping on my head. Like, you don't have to be good. You don't have to get on your knees and crawl a million miles in the desert. You just have to listen to the soft body of soft animal of your physical body and be good to it and give it what it wants. And if you can tune into that with all of these things, with your food, with your exercise, stop being like, I have to kill myself to be skinny. I'm not going to eat so I can be skinny, or, you know, tune in. You're going to find that balance, and you're going to find yourself in that place of feeling good, which I think is really the goal. Like, it's not really about being skinny, because you can be skinny and miserable, and it's about feeling good and being present in yourself.
Yeah, it's finding that balance. And, you know, it's funny you brought up the weight loss thing. It's like, I've worked with a lot of clients with weight loss, and I have to say in my own life I've been very lucky, and that wasn't my lesson in this lifetime. But what I've seen is a lot of people will do the exercise and the diet, and then they would get their first shed. You lose your first shed, and then all of a sudden they would plateau. And they'd ask me, like, why am I plateauing here? I'm doing all the exercise, I'm eating right, and I still can't. And there's the emotional weight again. A lot of times when I have processed my clients through an emotional plateau or block, all that the next week I'd see them and they drop 20 pounds. And they're like, whoa, so all that accumulative work that they had done the last like 4 weeks and didn't get any results, we have that one emotional breakthrough and they shed really, really quick. So it's, you know, again, logically it might not make sense, but when we do hold on to things and we're not listening to our, you know, to the next breakthrough. And I love that, I don't know if you watch it, but I like these guys, the Extreme Weight Loss Show. And they take one person, it's a husband and wife duo, and they take one person for a year and they help them lose weight. But this show, other than like The Biggest Loser, really puts a lot of emphasis on emotional connection to the weight loss and emotional eating. And I think that's a huge, I think that most people aren't talking about yet, is the emotional connection to the weight loss. I also want to bring in one thing I love. Okay, hold on, let me grab it.
Yeah.
If you're having emotional issues around your body, this is called a foam roller.
I love my foam roller. It's in San Diego.
I love my foam roller. You have a knee issue or a problem you can't get from a massage therapist, roll that shit out, because it will. I mean, you will have an emotional release on your own. This guy is so nice to align your body. You can get this thing at like Target for like 20 bucks. And I like this one. This one, it's from Power Systems, and some of them are too mushy. The foam rollers are too. This one has like just enough give. It doesn't hurt you, but it doesn't It's not going to enable your knots. It's going to get them, but it's not going to hurt you. So this is a really good one.
It's not going to enable your knots. I love that. You know, it's funny. While I was waiting outside for Lala, Lala was out, you know, for a month and a half. And there were a few nights I was sitting there and like right behind my heart was just hurting on my back. And I was, you know, talking to somebody online. She's like, grab a tennis ball, you know, and work it out. I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I mean, it's perfect because I was sitting there against the wall. And so like, I'm like, ooh, against the wall with my tennis ball, working it out. And it was, you know, probably a week after I started doing that. Lala comes, you know, basically trotting up, lets me pet her and grabs her and brings her in. So, you know, had to work through some of that physical. You know, I see this with my clients. I do physical energy work on people. It's a mixture of craniosacral and Reiki and acupressure and all kinds of things. And the body carries so much. The body, you know, every organ has a personality. Like your liver has so much it wants to say to you. Every cell has potential personality in it. Your inner children, there's more than one of them. Your inner children are all hanging out in there. You've got past lives hanging out in there. There's so many personalities. Your body has so much to share with you if you're willing to dive in. And I think one of my personal favorite practices is actually checking in with the body. You know, like going through and like wiggling your toes, like, hey toes, you help me walk every day. Thank you. Kneecap. I'm sorry I banged you on the desk. That hurt, but you know, are you doing all right? And there's a practice called the inner smile where you just practice actually like smiling at your organs. I love that. And they appreciate it. I can tell you, I feel it in a client when they take the time to like actually be with an organ. They're like, oh, thank you for noticing me. I am working hard. And it shifts your relationship with them. It's an incredible thing.
I actually love the smile exercise too. Smile or gratitude, thanking each organ.
Yeah.
I use this with a lot of all my clients. I have to say all my clients because this is part of my practice. It's basically awareness therapy that you just put an awareness on whatever has discomfort on your body, or even things that aren't, like your organs or your spine or whatnot. And just as your mind starts to wander, bringing your awareness back to that place, keep bringing it back and seeing what flushes out. Because the awareness itself, just putting your consciousness, your awareness on something on your body, you don't have, I'm telling you, you don't have to force or manipulate anything. It flushes by itself just by having an awareness and being present with it. It's just like a friend, right? Like if you have a friend and they're working through something that they're having a really hard time, and then you just come over there and you hold space for them, and just your presence alone and the feeling that they feel supported, they'll end up starting to shift, right? Have you ever seen that? Like when you support a friend, they were like in a cycle of craziness and you just sit by them and you don't have to give them advice, you just kind of hold their back. Whoop, they shift right out. This is kind of what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah, it's holding space for yourself as your physical body. You know, the other thing I like to look at the body, you know, because people do want to, like we talked about in the beginning, disassociate from it. Like, I'm not my body. Yeah, you may be more of it, but you are still responsible for your body. Like these cells, all of these cells that make this up, they're alive. You know, you're responsible for them. I kind of view my body as like a child. How would I want to take care of myself if I were my child, my physical child? And that puts a softer level on it. Like, I don't want to be to my child like, you're not working hard enough in the gym. Like, oh, you can't eat that, you know, don't eat that extra portion. Like, and meanwhile, the body's like, but you need a little bit more food, you know, like tuning into yourself on that softer level, I think is really beautiful for the body, because we kind of can be kind of harsh with it sometimes. I can be harsh with myself sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes it just needs a little loving. Okay, so I have something kind of doing this.
Yeah.
I talk about this. So, okay, I'm going to go there. For some reason, I maybe one of the listeners need to hear this, but I want to go back a little bit to that root sacral area. You know, we put such an emphasis about eating the right foods and exercising, and you are what you eat, right? So everything you put in your body is a extension of yourself. So I want to talk about this. Anyone you put in your body is also an extension of yourself, especially for women. Men too. So it's like, you know, yeah, be conscious of who you're putting, right? So who you're sexually engaging with. You know, I have a friend that just got out of a relationship, and she's having a lot of fun, but and I want her to have a lot of fun, but I also go, you got to be conscious because you're bringing in a certain amount of their energy and their stuff into your body, and especially for women. And we share hormones and we share all these different things. And when we have an orgasm, we have an oxytocin dump. And the more chemistry you have with somebody, the more that you pull on their stuff and they pull on yours. So you also be aware and listen to your body. Yes, the chemistry is great, but if something is saying, like, this is making me feel icky afterward, guys, listen to that. That means that there is a potential for a toxic relationship. And if you listen to your body sooner rather than later, you can stop a toxic relationship in their track. Well, oh, I always feel depleted when I sleep with them. And not even to the point where even friendships, right? So you got to listen to your body. Oh, every time I'm with that person, all I want to do is take a nap. I feel so depleted. Well, there's something that's depleting you and telling you that maybe this relationship isn't in your highest and greatest good. And I talk about this a lot with people who have like a client-based business. Oh, that client just wipes me out. Yeah, well, maybe you guys aren't helping each other. You know, maybe this is a toxic client that wants to pull rather than be empowered or whatnot. So I always say that, like, listen to your body around relationships, especially sex, because it is very physical. That be picky, Virgo. Be picky. It's okay to be a little picky about what you put in your temple, in your body, this way or the other way. And you want to be in an integrity so you feel in alignment with yourself. And when you have a sexual partner that's very loving, it's connected and beautiful, and it can heal you. But a toxic one can make you sick, make you tired, make you fatigued.
I mean, I have had so many friends, I know that they've, like, been in a place where they keep getting bladder infections, yeast infections. Your body's saying, hey, something's not right here. And it's not a case for you to judge yourself. It's like, okay, something's out of balance. What needs to shift? All of these things, they're amazing clues. Allow your inner detective to be like, what is this clue telling me? Tune in. It's not something to fight. It's not something to just take an Advil for. It's a sign to really listen, to help yourself get in alignment, again, with feeling good.
Yeah, it's funny because I had an ex-boyfriend. I mean, I've been with my husband 11 years, so this was a very, very long time ago. Yeah, a boyfriend I dated when I was 19, and I used to get yeast infections. And I've never gotten one since. I never had one before that. And it's like, like that wasn't a really good alignment for me. It wasn't. I mean, it was what it was, and I kind of knew it, really. I knew it. That it was kind of a transitional thing. I moved out of my house, and I needed someone that, you know, would make me feel not so scared to live on my own. So I had this boyfriend, and my body would tell me. It's funny you said that, because I'm like, yeah, I had a boyfriend where I did get yeast infections, and that's gross, but it's also going, yeah, if you don't want them, stop doing this.
Yeah, they're like, get it out, get it out, get it out.
Don't want that, you know, and it becomes one of those things of allowing these relationships with food, allowing the relationships with sex, allowing the relationship with relationships to heal you through the body. I mean, the body really, it's such a mirror where we're showing up. It's so, it is the harshest lesson sometimes, but man, it will go, I love you, but this is out of integrity. And as soon as you start loving yourself more, you will naturally want to get. And I tell clients a lot, it's like, yeah, you got to be careful because, a lot of these corporations with the potato chips, they're chemically altering their foods, so you crave their food instead of craving the nutrient-dense version of it. So if you're in that aspect where you're still, really loving the junk food, then you got to train your body a little bit more because you might feel like you're craving that, but it's designed to crave that. So to find out what that particular, like the potato chip, is triggering in your sensor, because you might need something, your body's craving something.
Salt, probably. I mean, I think usually when I crave something, potato chips, salt, and I'll make a salad and put some of the pink Himalayan salt on it, and it's like, there that goes. Or I'll have seaweed.
I was going to say it. I love seaweed. Not everybody likes it, but Himalayan pink sea salt is really great. I tell that with my clients. It's like, you don't have to take salt out of your diet. You don't. There's really great ways to have salt in such a healthy way and have sweets in such a healthy way. You don't have to deplete yourself. I have a client that wants to do really low crazy calories, and it's like, it's not about depleting or dieting that way, but it's finding this beautiful natural balance that your body is craving to get the nutrient dense foods that you need without not enjoying your food. There's yummy, healthy ways. Butter's not evil and olive oil's not evil. These things, that fatty things. Butter in moderation is really good to lube everything up. Back to the digestion, right? So it's like, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You just got to be, these fad diets are great for a moment. They really are. But you really got, more than anything, when I'm talking to a client, it's like, what's a good lifestyle for you? That's what I'm more concerned about. What works that you can sustain, instead of doing this crazy fad for a month or two and then you jump off of it and then all of a sudden you gain all the weight back and then some.
You're uber cranky and snapping at your kids every 5 seconds because you're hungry, because your body's like, you're not feeding me what I need.
Yeah, and it's about, and the truth of the matter is, it's learning how to, I always say that it's like, if you want to succeed, you got to prep for it, right? So it's like going to the grocery store and only buying those things. I mean, the best way to really not eat the shit you want, I say the shit, the shitty stuff, don't have it in the house. It's a lot harder to eat it if it's not there, right? So only buy what you need. Prep your meals. No, decide what you're gonna buy, and also know that eating healthy is not complicated. You could, if you are a meat eater, it's like, buy an organic chicken breast and put a little olive oil, salt, and pepper on it. Throw it in the oven for a half an hour, and you got yourself, make a couple of them, and then you put them in the fridge, cut them up later, and put them on a salad. I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated. The least complicated it is, honestly, is more successful it's going to be.
It's true.
I see it over and over and over again. The less complicated you make it, you don't have to get these crazy things that you can't even pronounce, these new, healthy things. I was helping a friend who wanted to lose a lot of weight, and so I was pulling up websites, how to eat healthy websites. I looked at them, and I eat really healthy, and I'm like, what is this stuff? I wouldn't even buy this. I wouldn't even know where to get this. This is the most ridiculous thing. It was buckwheat something pasta and these things, and if you're into that, it's great. But for someone who has never eaten like that, who's been eating macaroni and cheese and chicken fingers, they're not going to want to go from that to buckwheat pasta. It's
if you go from macaroni and cheese and chicken fingers to a salad and a chicken breast,
chicken breast
make a huge difference anyways in your life. So don't worry about the buckwheat.
Don't worry about that until you get into it and you want to be creative in that. But
grounded buckwheat is amazing. I just have to say. It's true. It's really good. It makes a great cereal.
But step by step, right? So
Right.
Because I don't think someone who's eating macaroni and cheese and chicken fingers are going to want to go eat buckwheat, or wheatgrass or all these things that we enjoy. But that seems like alien, right? So you got to find.
Because I think it's so daunting. I think that's part of the problem. It's so daunting. It doesn't feel good. It feels bad. It's like it puts stress on you, which isn't good for the body. So you have to find your path, and it comes back again. I keep coming back to feeling good. I just want to feel good. I remember this point in my life, and it was where I was like exercising like crazy and eating. I was eating vegan, and I was working 10.5 hours every day for my sister. Like my life was crazy, packed full of everything. And I remember crying to my mom at one point, I just want to feel good. I just want to feel good. And I looked the other day and I was like, okay, there's definitely some craziness going on, but I feel good because I've got the body thing, like I'm doing what feels good for my body. I've got the food thing. I'm doing what feels good for my body with the food. I've got my spiritual connection. I'm not pushing myself to do so much. It feels good. It feels balanced.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? It's funny because you can see it in everything. Like if you're stuck with money, like I see this a lot too, because just like the body, dis-ease, if you're not flowing with money, it's like, okay, find it in your body where you're stuck. And I'm telling you, every time I find when somebody's really stuck, I'm like, work on your root chakra, work on it, because that's manifesting. Work on that part of your body. What do you need to be more passionate about? What do you need to be more sexual around? I know that sounds horrible, but sex and money kind of live in the same area, which, in our society feels, they feel a little wrong, right? It's wrong, sexuality and money. There's some shit around that. And it's like, if you start cleaning that up and finding a healthy relationship in that area and really, I don't know, loving yourself there in whatever way you find, but connecting. If you're in a bad relationship, you might not be flowing money. So you got to find that area of where that feels very nurturing for you, because that's when you're in your passion, you might be making your money. And the body's trying to tell you that. It's like when you're in your passion, and it's not about making, it's not greed money. It's about being flow money. Like, what do you need money? And abundant, I love this channel, guy who channels this ET, I don't know. His name is Bashar. And his definition of abundance is what you need when you need it. That's abundance. What you need when you need it. It's not talking about money, but it's talking about everything. So what you're needing to get things done and when you need it. And that's all root. So, I don't know why I'm being very drawn right now to talk about the sexuality thing, but the more you clean that up and the more that you're in balance with that, the more you're going to be able to see yourself manifesting what you want in your life. And that's the body right there. Your body's telling you, how you do one thing's how you do everything. So if that part of your body's not in integrity, then you might feel off kilter.
It makes sense, astro-wise. We're finishing up Saturn in Scorpio for the next, 30 years. Saturn in Scorpio is so dealing with root issues. So, we have all this stuff surfacing, all that shame, which we're storing in the body, the guilt, and those root issues around manifesting, going into our life, feeling good in our life, and that's really, it feeds right into it. So it makes sense, astro-wise, why that kept coming up. I decided, because we had the cards here from before, I just pulled some cards and I thought they were so perfect to maybe finish this up. I love it. So these two jumped out first. Clinging
I got the letting go card too.
Yeah, clinging to the past and letting go, which I think is really, there's Nikki with it, which is really so related to that root stuff and all the digestion stuff. And, it's funny because Virgo is very tied into the digestion in your body, so I think that's really funny too. So it's time to let go. It's time to let go to those ideas, that shame, all that stuff that you're holding on to. turn in, listen to yourself, take some time with that silence, and be present with yourself. This is probably one of my favorite, I mean, I say that about a lot of the cards, but existence. Be present with yourself. Be one with yourself. And do your own path. Existence to me is about, this is your life. This is your path. Neither Nikki or I, we might be able to help you, shift things, but we're never going to be able to tell you, this is right and this is wrong. Only you can really firmly tell yourself that. And that's good, Be true to yourself. Listen to yourself. And even if it doesn't take you where you think you immediately want to go, it's part of your path. It's part of your lessons. So don't carry any shame about like, oh, I made a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's part of your path. It's part of your learning process. And that's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. It's a big shame things going on. I'm thinking that I was thinking about doing a video on motherhood and shame. I'm finding that a lot of people, and even my own self, we have women, and there's the sacral thing again, because your sacral is where motherhood is, right? That's where your womb is. We're holding on a lot of shame. I find that a lot of people go through these big shifts in motherhood, and we hold on a lot of shame because sometimes it is hard to nurture someone else as much as motherhood needs to be. And we hold I'm seeing a lot of mothers holding on to a lot of shame of not being the perfect mother, and then that's really kind of gunking us up. So I might do a special video for moms to let go of some of the shame, start having the conversation that we're all not perfect at motherhood. We're all not perfect at parenthood. It's the friggin' hardest thing ever. And to really start having that conversation, because I'm starting to see, like, as I start talking about my own adventure around parenthood and all the ups and downs that come with that, that a lot of people are suffering in silence because they don't want to feel embarrassed or ashamed saying that, their children aren't perfect. And so with that, I think I might, so if you guys are interested, just let me know, and I'll make something for you guys so we don't have these women, suffering alone because they think they're the only ones that feel this way, overwhelmed and, all that stuff.
Well, cool. I think this just about wraps it up. But, speaking of these Gaia perspective, we'd love to hear from you. Leave us a comment, send us messages, or put our emails, or leave a comment so we can start a discussion about like how are you utilizing your body as your spiritual journey, and where are you struggling with that? And leave us messages about what you'd like us to talk to. We'd like to make this a weekly thing. Vicky and I have a lot to say. Nicole and I have a lot to say. So, tune in. Share with us. Tell us what's going on with you. We'd love to hear from you. And I think I am complete. Are you complete?
Yeah, and also it's like, so you can find us, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you really like these. Comment on the YouTube channel. Visit us at GaiaBlooming.com and NicoleOman.com. That's my personal page. And also, if you have something to talk about, hey, we're totally into you jumping on here with us. Just let us know in advance of something you'd like to talk about. And we'll have Girl Gab Day. I'm cool with that. Making new friends and gabbing, and even if you have a different perspective, I always love having the opposite perspective. So we have all the colors going on, all the perspective. So whatever, so please be part of our community. That's kind of what we're looking for, is some like-minded people that are willing to have an honest discussion about things that a lot of people don't want to talk about.
Absolutely. All right, so thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Namaste.
Namaste. Bye.